Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight and joining us for our community presentation on the organics recycling and also the new carts and services that are going to be rolled out. We'll go and start off with some quick introductions. My name is Matthew Cuevas, and I'm a management analyst for the city of Alhambra. And one of my primary responsibilities is overseeing the city contract with our franchise waste hauler, which is Republic Services. And then I'll go ahead and let Francella introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Francella Aguilar, and I'm the Municipal Manager for Republic Services. And I oversee the contract and work along with Matt.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get right into the presentation here. Um, so I will go ahead and start things off. Okay, so for tonight, so we did our introductions already, and here's the agenda that we're going to be going over. So I will be giving a brief presentation, on sort of the background and the timeline of how we got to this point and why we're implementing these new services in the city. And then when my presentation is completed, I'll hand it off to Francella, and she can discuss the new carts that are going to be coming to all the residents, as well as some additional recycling and disposal practices that are going to be subject to the new state requirements. And then after that, we'll go ahead and have a quick question and answer session. And we have enabled the Q&A feature on the Zoom link. So if you have a question, please feel free to type it in, and we will go ahead and answer that live. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this recording, we are recording it. So we will be posting this link on the city website in the future, so that way people can go back and watch it. Okay, so where is all of this coming from? I know I've gotten a lot of questions from residents over the last few weeks as to why we're rolling out these new services. And the answer is there was actually a state law passed called SB 1383, also known as the Short-Lived Climate Pollutants Act, that was actually passed in 2016. And the reason why we're getting around to implementing it now is the state spent a considerable amount of time doing some public comment, outreach, gathering feedback from different jurisdictions, haulers, environmental groups, and they barely finalized all the rules for this brand new law. I believe it was in October 2020. So essentially what this law is going to require, it requires the states to essentially reduce the organic waste disposal by 75% or 20 million tons by 2025. Now it did set an additional 50% diversion rate by 2020, but unfortunately we missed that target. Additionally, with this new legislation, organic waste has been defined as green waste, wood waste, food waste, but also fibers such as paper and cardboard. Now, the reason why the organic waste has become a pretty big deal here in the state is through a lot of analysis and research, CalRecycle, which is the state department that oversees all this, has determined that organic waste is the third largest producer of methane, and it's responsible for 21% of all the state's methane emissions. So as we know, methane is a greenhouse gas, so that is contributing significantly to the global warming going on in the state right now. In addition, if you look at the chart CalRecycle has provided, essentially what they've determined that organic waste stream in the state is comprised of about 67% of everything goes to our landfills. So that includes paper, food, lumber, and other organics. So essentially, only 33% of materials as of right now that are being sent to the landfills are non-organics. So in addition to focusing on the reductions to the greenhouse gases, it's also looking to increase edible food recovery by 20% by the year 2025. And during CalRecycle's research and analysis, they found out that actually 1 in 8 Californians are actually food insecure. And I think one thing we witnessed here in the city, especially when COVID-19 first hit and everybody was put on lockdown, we did have a couple of food giveaways here in the city, and it was pretty shocking to see the number of people that actually came out and needed that food for them and their families. So this is something that's absolutely true, and it's a great goal that the state's trying to reach. And we also want to make sure we're doing this to help our neediest neighbors and our residents so that they're not food insecure. So in regards to the law itself, it's pretty comprehensive. It's probably the most far-reaching solid waste and recycling law that's been implemented probably in the past 30 years or so. So it's really going to be a heavy lift, and it's really going to require a lot of things, not only on our behalf, the city side, but also on all the residents and the businesses too. We really need everyone to come together to make sure we're meeting these goals. Now, some of the requirements that the law is imposing upon the jurisdictions is we have to pass an enforceable ordinance by January 1st, 2022. Another requirement is that jurisdictions, and that means all cities, counties, special districts in the entire state, are going to have to provide organic waste collection and recycling services to all their residents and businesses. So again, this law is going to be a statewide law that's affecting virtually every city and every person throughout the entire state. It's also going to require that jurisdictions establish an edible food recovery program, and that's really more for your tier 1 and tier 2 edible food generators. And now you're asking yourself, what are tier 1 and tier 2 edible food generators? Well, tier 1 edible food generators are defined as supermarkets, grocery stores with facility size larger than 10,000 square feet, large-scale food service providers and distributors, as well as whole food vendors. Now your tier 2 edible food generators are restaurants with 250 or more seats or a facility size that's larger than 5,000 square feet, hotels that have more than 200 rooms and have an on-site food facility, health facilities with 100 or more beds and also have an on-site food facility, as well as local education facilities with an on-site food facility. So that would be like your schools that have cafeterias on their campuses. Now, for the tier 1 edible food generators, they're subject to these new requirements, these new requirements starting January 1, 2022. And for the tier 2 edible food generators, they're subject to these requirements January 1, 2024. So the tier 2s have a little bit more time to try to get up to speed with establishing their edible food recovery, but we really want to try to push them to make sure they're getting those in place before then. Some additional requirements: the city is going to be required to conduct outreach and education to residents and businesses on the new organics recycling requirements. The city is also going to be required to conduct what's called capacity planning for future organics recycling needs. So that's something the city is going to be partnering with the county with. So that's not something necessarily that the residents or businesses have to concern themselves with. In addition, the city is going to be required to procure recycled organic waste products. So what is a recycled organic waste product? Well, those are things such as compost, mulch, renewable natural gas, and that's a city requirement again, and then we'll have to be doing that in partnership with our franchise waste hauler, Republic Services. Another requirement is that the city needs to maintain records and conduct timely reporting back to the state on how we're doing and meeting these goals. Some additional requirements of this law is jurisdictions are going to be required to implement a construction and demolition, also known as C&D, debris recycling, and model water efficient landscape, also known as MWILO ordinances. Now for the Cal Green C&D ordinance, that state requirement right now, anyone that's conducting any sort of a construction project or remodel is supposed to be diverting 65% of all their C&D materials at a minimum. Additionally, some of the other requirements that jurisdictions will be responsible for are self-haulers, such as landscaping and gardening businesses, and also contractors who are disposing of C&D materials will be required to register with the city and also report back to us the amounts of material they're transporting to diversion facilities and where they were taken. In addition, this legislation also requires that large venues or large events that service or seat an average of more than 2,000 individuals per day of operation to subscribe to organics recycling and also possibly edible food recovery programs. In addition to all these, there are some waivers that are going to be available for commercial and multifamily customers. However, these are going to be on a case-by-case basis, and it's going to be determined off of site visits conducted by our franchise hauler and also city personnel. And the two types of waivers that are going to be available are physical space waivers. These will be for multifamily complexes and commercial business locations that lack the physical space to accommodate multiple bins. Now, I know a lot of the complexes in the city were built quite a while back, and obviously when they constructed them, they did not have this in mind when they built the apartment complexes or the business complexes for that matter. So essentially, these locations can request this waiver from the city. We will go out, conduct an inspection, and then we will figure out the appropriate container configuration for that location. And finally, the other waiver that will be available for commercial and business customers are what's known as de minimis waivers. And these are basically dependent upon the amount of solid waste and organics that you are producing a week. So for example, if your total solid waste collection service is 2 cubic yards or more per week, and your organic waste is less than 20 gallons, that particular individual or customer, I should say, would be eligible for a de minimis waiver. Also, if the total solid waste collection is more than 2 cubic yards a week, but less than 10 gallons, that would also be eligible for a de minimis waiver. And then finally, the last requirement that this new law is placing on jurisdictions is we're required to conduct monitoring, inspections, and enforcement activities. So the city is going to be responsible for monitoring for compliance to ensure that the proper recycling practices are being followed in regards to organic waste disposal. We will be doing inspections and keeping inspection records on file and have to report back to the state. Finally, the city will have the ability to revoke any waivers or permits, such as the physical space waiver or the de minimis waiver, if we find that these generators are non-compliant. And lastly, the city will also be responsible for issuing citations for repeat offenders. Now, the reason why the state is really putting this on the jurisdictions is it's felt that at the local level, it would be much better to handle and manage this as opposed to the state level. And also in addition, the cities themselves are subject to compliance actions by the state. In this instance, it would be CalRecycle. So if they determine that a city is non-compliant, they can take enforcement actions upon a city. So this includes things such as a formal compliance process where a city will be subject to implementing a formal action plan and then reporting back on a consistent basis to CalRecycle on their progress, up to and including fines to a jurisdiction. I've heard instances where cities or jurisdictions are non-compliant, getting fines up to $10,000 a day. So the state is very serious about this and is very serious about moving forward with this whole organics recycling. So it's important to keep in mind, though, that this is for a good reason. We're doing it to help offset the methane emissions coming from the landfills to make sure our environment's getting a lot more cleaner and a lot more greener. But in addition, as I mentioned before, it's also trying to accomplish the goal of helping those individuals who are food insecure make sure they're getting the food that they need for them and their families. So now real quick, we're gonna go over the timeline of how we got to this point in terms of implementing this new service. So this actually began back in 2019, where at that point, the city council had directed staff to initiate the formal RFP process for a new contract and also temporarily extend the current services by 15 months. So we really wanted to make sure that we were having no gaps in service. So that's why we wanted to do that temporary 15-month extension, which in turn allowed us time to initiate and start the entire RFP process. In 2019, the City Council awarded a contract to HF&H Consultants to assist the city with developing the RFP, the procurement process, and contract negotiations. In January 2020, City and HFF staff hosted a community information meeting at the Alhambra Library. And this was to basically gather more feedback from the community on potential service enhancements and also discuss and provide an overview of the RFP and procurement process, as well as providing updates on this new state law. Then in April of 2020, the City Council approved the final distribution of the RFP, and that was posted publicly for any interested proposers to respond. We gave proposers a few months to go ahead and put together the proposals and get those back to the city. So the proposals were due in August of 2020, and we got a total of 7 proposals that we received. So it was a really good response rate to the actual RFP. And between that time and December, our consultant went ahead and conducted a thorough review and analysis of all the written proposals. We followed that up with interviews on December 1st and December 2nd with each proposer. And then based off of all that information, our consultant put together a pretty comprehensive report, which was then presented to the City Council this past January in 2021. And at that meeting, the City Council went ahead and directed staff to negotiate with Republic Services on a future agreement. We went ahead and we met multiple times with our consultant and with Republic and their team. And we came back with a draft agreement in February of 2021 that was presented to the city council as well. They went ahead and reviewed it, and they agreed with all the different changes we put in there. And we really tried to implement everything that the community wanted into that agreement without really significantly impacting the rates to everyone. And fortunately, the city council went ahead and approved that agreement in February. And since then, we've basically been working with Francella and her team on getting together all the different education materials, starting to get those posted for everybody, and also working on the rollout of the new carts, which I believe most of you have probably seen the flyer and are aware of. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So really excited to begin this new service for everyone. It's going to be a great, great thing, and we're really looking forward to it. At this time, that's going to conclude my presentation. So I'll stop my screen here, and then I will go ahead and turn it over to Francella so she can begin hers.
Thank you, Matt. Let me go ahead and start mine. Are you able to see it on the screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So as I introduce myself, for those of you who just logged in, my name is Francella Aguilar. I'm the Municipal Manager for Republic Services, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today to introduce all of the new contract programs. As Matt mentioned before, Republic Services has been, sorry, let me see, trying to switch to my slide. 1 second. There you go. Republic Services has been proudly serving the community of Alhambra for over 25 years. Some of the companies that you may recognize and have joined the Republic family include Allied Waste, Consolidated Disposal Service, and BFI. So if you see some of these logos on your current cards, is because now they have joined the Republic family. Our contact information, if you need to reach us, is we have a dedicated Alhambra email, and that's alhambra@republicservices.com. Our customer service department can be reached at 1-800-299-4898. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5 p.m., and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can also download our mobile app, Republic Services. This app can be used to schedule pickups, report a missed pickup, search additional products and services, and much more. Republic Services currently provides solid waste and recycling services to 2,700 communities nationwide, 14 million customers, and we have over 3,700 employees. We service 41 states, over 20 municipalities in Los Angeles, with approximately 1,000 employees. We are a local company with a national backing, and we own and operate 3 hauling divisions with 6 local transfer stations, 2 processing facilities, and 1 landfill, all here in the greater Los Angeles area. We have been a partnership with Teamsters Local 396. All of our new equipment to be used in Alhambra for the collection of solid waste, recycling, and green waste will be fueled with renewable natural gas. All of our collection vehicles are fueled on site at our division yard, which is located in Sun Valley. And now let's get into the most important part. When do these new programs start? Well, effective July 1st, all residential and multifamily property owners will be invoiced directly by Republic Services. If you're currently not enrolled to receive solid waste services through your water bill, you will need to contact us before July 1st so that you can sign up and ensure that you receive your new cards. All businesses will continue to be invoiced as you're currently being invoiced by Republic Services. And beginning July, a zero waste representative or recycling coordinator will be contacting you to go over all of the new mandatory programs and requirements. Now, I know Matt mentioned we sent out a flyer and it said May. Unfortunately, due to a delay in production, the new cards will now start arriving in the middle of June. You will be receiving a standard set of 3 96-gallon size cards. The smaller cards will be available upon request, and additional cards can also be provided for an additional fee. Once your new cards arrive, please note that the black card will be now used for trash. The blue card will be used for mixed recyclables, and the green card will now be used for green and food waste. Please continue to your current separation and process and the current use card colors until your new cards arrive. So you do not need to change anything right now, again, until your new cards arrive. Now, your bulky collection will include 4 pickups per year, and that's up to 4 items per pickup. And we will have a battery recycling program, sharps and container collection, and a holiday tree will continue. And this is when after December 26th, for 3 weeks, we will be collecting your holiday trees. I will give you a little bit more detail further in the presentation about these programs. Now, all of these services will be offered to you at no additional cost. And it's very important to keep in mind that your service day will not change. For more information, you can always visit the Alhambra Republic website, which will be once again provided at the end of the presentation. Now, once you receive your new cards, you notice that there's going to be a label on top of the lid. Please make sure to follow those instructions. Your new black card will be used for trash only. This includes all waste that should not be discarded in the blue or green cards, such as paper towels, wax paper, diapers, wood, pet waste, and other non-recyclable items. Your blue card will still continue to be for recyclable only. Items such as plastic bottles, cereal boxes, mixed paper, glass bottles, juice cans, cardboard, and any other similar item. Your new card is now for green and food waste only. Items such as shrubbery or clippings from the yard and garden, plants, grass clippings, leaves, pre and post-consumer food waste, such as eggshells, fruit, and any other similar item. Also, a 2-gallon kitchen pail will be delivered and provided in July to all single-family units. These pails will benefit, some of the kitchen pails benefits include the inaccessibility to insects, and they reduce or eliminate odors, making sure that the separation is more convenient for you. Multifamily residents will be able to receive kitchen pails once the zero waste representative conducts your waste assessment. For the collection of business multifamilies of 5 units or more, for the period of July 1st through December 31st, Republic Services will transition all multifamily and businesses that currently receive commingle refuse service to a new source separated collection program. Again, our zero waste representatives will conduct a waste audit to analyze your waste and determine the service levels needed to maximize your recycling opportunities. For commercial businesses and multifamilies with 5 or more units, the state of California has 2 laws with which you must be in compliance. The first one is AB 3041, which require businesses that generate more than 4 cubic yards of solid waste per week and multifamily properties with 5 units or more to participate in a recycling program. And SB 1383, which is one of the new state laws, effect for all businesses effective on January 1st, 2022, you are to separate your organic waste and participate in a recycling program. Republic Services is here to help you understand your responsibilities and make it as easy as possible to comply with these state laws. So we will be visiting you and subscribing you to these new required recycling programs. For more information regarding these requirements or to request services, please visit us again at the dedicated Alhambra web page, which is republicservices.com/municipality/Alhambra-CA. Or if you have any questions, you can also email us directly at alhambra@republicservices.com. Bulky item collection for businesses in multifamily of 5 or more units, multifamily of 5 or more units, you will be entitled to 1 bulky item pickup per calendar year, up to 4 items, and that is 1 for each dwelling unit in the building at no additional charge. Businesses may request bulky item pickups for an additional fee. And to better ensure that all of your items are collected on your service day, please be sure to contact our customer service department at 1-800-299-4898 at least 24 hours in advance to schedule your bulky item pickups. Some of the acceptable items include furniture, clothing, appliances such as refrigerators, washers, e-waste such as TVs and computers, and U-waste, which is batteries and lamps. Some of the non-acceptable items include tires, construction and demolition material, and any item requiring 2 or more people to remove. Effective July 1st, household battery recycling containers will be available for you to drop off your batteries at the following locations: Alhambra City Hall, Civic Center Library, Jocelyn Center at Story Park, Almanzar Park office. Some of the acceptable batteries are rechargeable batteries and single-use batteries. Please note that automobile and industrial batteries are not accepted. However, you can go on our website and they will give you a list of locations of where you can drop off those batteries. Sharp collections. Republic Services will provide Sharps containers to all Alhambra residents upon request. Residents may request up to 4 containers, which include mail bag packaging and postage. We deliver the containers directly to your door. Please you can contact us directly to request the service at 1-855-737-7871, or you can email us directly at sharps@republicservices.com to place your order for this service. Alhambra Recycle events. In the past, we had been conducting one annual. I can tell you that now there will be 2 annual recycle events. One is going to be in the spring and the second one in the fall. The following services will be provided to all Alhambra residents and businesses, and that is going to be electronic waste drop-off, plastic bottles and aluminum can drop-off, document shredding on site, compost giveaway, and the famous ice cream scoop voucher from Fossilman's. And again, Republic Services look forward to continuing serving the city of Alhambra as your trusted and reliable solid waste and recycling services provider. Please remember to begin the source separation in the new card colors until you receive your new cards. In the meantime, our team is here to help you. So please call us at 1-800-299-48, or you can email us any questions directly at alhambra@republicservices.com, and we will be sure to respond in a timely manner. You may also visit our website at republicservices.com/municipality/alhambra-ca to obtain more detailed information of all the new programs and upcoming events. Thank you again for attending our community meeting. This concludes my presentation, but now Matt will open the question and answer section.
Okay, great. Thank you, Francella. So we'll go ahead and leave this screen up here. So that way, if anybody wants to write down this information, you can certainly do that.
Yes.
And again, if you have any questions, we have enabled the Q&A feature on the Zoom. So please feel free to go ahead and enter those at any time, and we will certainly respond to those live. And I also want to note that the little flyers that Francella shared that shows the different type of materials that can be placed in the new containers are not only are they available on the website there, but they are also available to download on the city website as well.
Matt?
Yes.
We did receive one question in our email, in our inbox, and that I would like to answer. So the customer's asking, he wants to know the billing cycle and when the containers will be getting delivered, and also if he will get the same container. So I'll go ahead and answer that. The billing cycle, I know the city currently bills every other month, correct? The new billing cycle
right now, yes.
Perfect. So the new billing cycle will be quarterly. So we will be billing every 3 months. The first bill would be in July, and it will cover July, August, and September. As far as the containers, everyone is going to get a standard set of 3 96-gallon containers. But as mentioned before, you can call us and request different sizes. We also have 64-gallon and 32-gallon cards for all 3 colors. You just need to either email us or call us to request them after July 1st. This will have to happen after you receive your first set. And the last question. So he did ask if he would get what he currently has on site. No, you're going to get 1 set, 3 96-gallon cards, but we can make the changes. You can contact us and we can go from there. And that's the only question we received, Matt.
Okay, so we did get one through the Q&A, and I'll address that one in just a second. But I did want to note that I know some people out there have sort of generic trash containers that they use for some of their trash or recyclables, you know, like the Rubbermaid ones that you can buy at like any hardware store. And unfortunately, we will not be allowed to use those with this new legislation and with the new collection system. So just keep that in mind. You will have to be using the new carts that are being provided. And if you do use one of those sort of generic containers, unfortunately, it's not going to be serviced. So just please keep that in mind. So one of the questions that we did get right now that came through the Q&A, it is, will the reduced trash rate be moved over automatically? And the answer to that is yes. So if you currently receive reduced trash rate through the city's water billing and refuse services, that information will be transferred over to Republic and they will continue that program as well. But again, that will be subject to income verification, just like it is right now. That was a great question. Thank you very much.
Mhm. No other questions on our
At this
inbox.
time, yeah, I don't see more coming through. So we'll just give it a couple more minutes here. Okay, so we had another question that came in. It says that they've had issues when spring cleaning and decluttering. So obviously they've got, extra material that doesn't fit in the container and it doesn't get picked up. And sometimes they see others leaving furniture and that extra stuff gets picked up. It seems pick and choose by the driver.
I'll go ahead and answer that, Matt.
Okay.
So the way it currently works is you need to call and schedule your pickups. So if there's someone who left items outside without calling us and scheduling us, the driver is only going to pick up what's on his schedule. However, there is times where he will report it and then we'll put it on a schedule. But my recommendation is please just go ahead and call the 800 number at least 24 hours before your service day to get these on a schedule and route, and we'll get them picked up. If that happens to you, please contact us and we will ensure that we collect those items.
Okay, and also on that note, if people have put furniture out and not scheduled it, you can always report that to the city as a dumped item, and we will work with the trash company to make sure that that gets picked up. But again, to Francel's point, those should be calling in and being scheduled. Okay, we have another question here. It says, for apartment complexes, did you say bulky pickup was 4 times a year per unit?
No, it's 1 time a year per unit up to 4 items. However, if you need to schedule additional pickups, you can contact us. We can arrange that for an extra fee.
And also that is going to be per unit. So depending on how many units you have in the actual complex is the number of bulk pickups you're allowed. So for example, if you have 10 apartment units in your complex, you're allowed 10 bulk item pickups, and each pickup is going to be 4 items per pickup. Okay, another question that came in is, will containers be delivered all on the same date or will it be done regionally?
And that's a great question, Matt. It's not going to be done on the same date. It's going to be done on your service date. We will start mid-June, and we will have some maps and information updated at least a week prior. So if you start checking early second week of June, you will have a map and some information, but it will be done on your service day starting in mid-June.
All right, thank you, Francel. And also to that, we will be, if you do miss a container for whatever reason, or if they skipped your house or whatever happens on the delivery day, you can always reach back out to Republic and let them know that, you didn't receive your containers, and they can certainly make the arrangements to get those delivered for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, another question that came in is, I currently have 3 green waste cans, so regular trash, and 2 recycle from Republic. So now I'll not be given 3 new green ones and 2 recycle. I should not have to pay for replacing something I was given before by you.
So what you will be receiving is going to be 1 green, 1 black, and 1 blue. And if you need additional cards, you will need to call us and schedule those deliveries, but there will be a fee for additional cards.
Yeah, unfortunately, really what that comes down to is the increase in the disposal costs that come along with this new law. I mean, it's gone up considerably for every single hauler, every single jurisdiction in the entire state. We're seeing rate increases in a lot of our neighboring cities, anywhere from 20, 30, up to 60%. So, really, we're trying to avoid that massive increase, and that's really why we're going to have to be looking to charge for these additional cards for those disposal purposes. but that was a great question. Thank you very much. Okay, another question was, we will be receiving the new bins in mid-June.
Yes, so we will start mid-June on your service day. You could be the second week, you can be the third week. It will take us a couple of weeks to deliver all of them. But I know one of the questions which is related to this one is, what if I only took out 2 cards and one of them was left in the back? You will still receive one of each color, and you can just call us so we can remove your additional in the back. Like Matt mentioned before, unfortunately, once you have your new set, any old Republic card that goes outside will not be serviced. They will only be removed.
And I think another half to that, if you're referring to the actual large bins at like multifamily complexes, those are going to be coming a little later in the year. Right now, we're really trying to roll out the individual carts for the single family residences, but we'll definitely be getting those rolled out in the coming months as well. So those most likely won't be delivered till sometime between July and December. Is that correct, Francella? That's the estimated timeline right now.
That is correct for commercial businesses and multifamily with more than 5 units. Yes.
Okay, so those people they should just continue to dispose of their materials as is until they get the new bins, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, great. We got another question here. Is every multi-unit residence contracted with Republic? And the answer to that is yes. Republic is the franchise waste hauler for the city. So they service all single-family residences, all multifamily units, and all commercial business customers in the city. Great question. Thank you. Okay, another question is, are we still going to get bills from the city of Alhambra? And what will Alhambra bill versus Republic? So I'll go ahead and answer that one. So starting on July 1, you're going to get a separate bill just for trash, and that's going to be coming from Republic Services. So the only thing the city will continue to bill for will be your water, and you will still receive those on a bi-monthly basis. So you'll be getting a water bill from the city, and then you will be getting a quarterly bill from Republic Services for trash and recycling services. But again, great question. Thank you very much for that. Another question we have here is, can food scraps and waste be placed in a biodegradable bag before placing in the bin?
If it's a biodegradable bag, yes. If you do not have biodegradable bags, we prefer that you use a kitchen pail to store them under your sink, and then right before your service day, you can put them in your green container, in your upcoming green container.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this person's question is going back to the extra trash. So they asked, does the extra trash, does it need to be held until there's a big pile and have it picked up as a bulk allowance?
So let's make sure we understand bulk items is not a pile of trash. Bulk items is furniture, so it's just large items. It's not piles of trash. If you need additional trash service, you will need to request an extra cart.
To add to that though, Francella, I think if you have additional yard waste bags, I think that would be considered a bulk item. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. If
If
it's green waste, yes.
Like 3 or 4 extra bags of clippings or what have you, you can call that in as a bulky item and get that scheduled.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. That was a great question. Okay, so this next question is, what happens when residents do not use the recycled bins? That is, they don't recycle. How will residents be encouraged to comply? So that's going to fall on a combination of the hauler and also the city. So the hauler, their drivers are out there every day. They're seeing everything. They're going to be keeping an eye to make sure people are properly separating their materials and recycling the materials. If they spot someone whose container and they're contaminating the food and the green waste container, say with recyclables or trash, what we're going to focus on initially is education and outreach, because we really want to give people time to adjust these new separating methods and processes. Because it's a big shift. Asking people to change the way that they're disposing of their materials that they've been used to for the past 30-some years. So what's going to happen is these drivers are going to, if they see that, what they'll do is they'll leave a tag on the cart and they won't service it. They'll put on the tag with the reason why it wasn't serviced. That way it gives the person the opportunity to either remove those items and put them in a separate bin or make other arrangements so that they're picked up and disposed of and recycled correctly. And however, if the individual is still not complying with those individual cart tags, Republic can issue contamination fees They are allowed to do that under SB 1383. In addition, they'll also notify the city. And at that time, we will do our follow-up inspection. And if we determine that the generator is in violation, the city then will begin the formal notice of violation process. And once we initiate that process, they have a certain amount of time to comply with the city ordinance. And if they don't, then at that point, the city can start issuing civil citations. So I believe the first instance of a violation, I want to say, I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance. I think it's $50. And if they still don't comply and they continue, I believe the second citation within a year, I want to say is 100 or 150. And then a third subsequent citation within that year, I believe is $200. So it's escalating. And we certainly don't want to get to that point. I mean, the whole goal is to get people educated on this and get them to start practicing proper recycling and sorting. But that is an option that's available to the city in terms of enforcement action. And people can report that to the city. That's going to be allowed if you see someone that is not complying with these new requirements. We will have a way for individuals to report that to the city so that we can follow up. But that was a really good question. Thank you so much. Okay, so another question is, what can be done to mitigate the large amounts of trash that accumulate outside of multi-unit residences between pickups?
So I can answer that, Matt. For multifamily units that are 5 or more, we consider them as commercial. So we can pick up those in between. They don't have to be on your trash service day. Also, a lot of these units are serviced more than once a week. So as long as you call within 24 hours, we can schedule that on a non-service day. And this is again for multifamily with 5 or more units.
Okay, and I think also to that, we should also touch bulk items. I know sometimes people like to leave bulk items by their trash bins if they live in a multi-unit complex. Really need to make sure you're calling that in and scheduling those so those can be placed curbside. If they're placed next to the trash bin, the trash company, Republic, their drivers aren't going to be able to get back there to remove those items, to remove them and haul them away. So it's really important that if you live in a multifamily complex, you let your landlord know, your residents know, your property manager know that we've got all these new requirements and services. Keep in mind, your bulk pickups are free up until you hit that limit, depending on the number of units that you've got on your property there. So there's no charge initially to get that stuff taken away. So thank you very much for that question. Okay, is there a recycle goal for Alhambra and where are we now? So yes, each city is required to hit a certain diversion rate, a percentage. I forget off the top of my head what it is we had in 2020. So I think it was 54 or 58%, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, you're muted.
Yes, it was in the mid-50s.
Okay, so that's the required diversion rate is 50% right now for every city. However, 1383 is a little different because it's a target that's set statewide. So we're really going to be focusing on trying to meet those goals moving forward. And I really think we can do it. We've got a great program here, and I know a lot of the residents here are really excited about this. So really, again, we're just going to be focusing on that education and outreach just to let everybody know so that we can certainly try to make strides in hitting that percentage. Okay, we got another question here. In a duplex unit, do we automatically get 2 sets or 1 set? So on that one, it's really going to depend on the number of containers you have right now. So for example, if you have, I guess it would be 6 carts, you would get in turn 6 carts because you get 1 for each color. So if you've got a green, a blue, and a black, and then another green, a blue, and a black, again, you would get the same number of carts that you currently have on site. Okay, let's see our next question. What is the cost for extra recycling carts? So right now we've got the rates. We will be getting those up on the websites in the coming weeks, so that way you can take a look at those and really kind of gauge whether or not if you're going to be requesting an additional cart. Looks like we might have lost Francella. I was hoping she could answer to it. But again, yeah, we will be posting that information not only on the city website, but also on the Republic Services website. Oh, there she comes.
I apologize. I got logged
Yeah,
off.
we lost you there for a second.
Yes, I apologize.
So I was answering this question. Maybe you can add to it. What is the cost per extra recycling cart?
We will be posting those rates on the website, but I want to say it's about $4 and some change. But again, we will post those rates on our Republic Alhambra website.
Good question. Okay. So another question here is, are you going to charge extra each month for having more than one green waste toter? And I meant green waste toter, not green toter. So I think they're saying, are we charging for an additional green food and yard waste cart, or is it based off of an extra trash cart?
No, it would be for any extra cart, whether it's black, blue, or green.
Okay, so that's good to clarify. Because I think right now it's only for an additional trash.
Correct.
Thank you very much for that question, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, question there. Will the cost increase? I think that goes back to the question on the rates. Off the top of my head, I don't think they're going up for single family. I don't know. I don't remember the correct number right now, but I think they're actually going to be a little bit less than what's being charged right now. Is that correct, Marcella?
That is correct. The rates for single family, or for, I would say the overall rate for a set of 3 cards is gonna drop a little bit.
Okay, that's what I recall too. And again, to that question, we will get that posted online so that everyone can review the rates. Okay, another question is, will the city contractor also monitor for trash bins to be pulled in by the required time? Some people keep their bins on front yard and visible to all. So that's kind of a combination between the city and the hauler. So there's a city ordinance that requires the containers to be placed outside of your residence for a certain amount of time on a certain day. And if those are being left out beyond that, you can certainly contact the city, and we will go out and reach out to the property owner and let them know that they need to bring their containers in. In addition, I know sometimes the big bins don't get brought back in a timely manner, unfortunately, by the drivers on occasion. And there are built-in compliance mechanisms to the new agreement that really require the trash hauler, which in the case is Republic Services, to bring those bins back in a timely manner. Unfortunately, there are what we call liquidated damage penalties. So unfortunately, if Francella and her team is not on the ball, we will be assessing those on her and her team. So yes, there will be monitoring going on and also compliance going on for that. Okay, another question here is, I have an automated bill payment set up with the city. With the separate bill from Republic, will my information be automatically set up and rolled over for automatic payments? That's a great question.
So unfortunately, no, it will not be rolled over. Your information will be rolled over, but not the auto pay, since we are in a different system. So it's very simple. You can either do it online, or you can call us, or you can email us, and we can help you get it set up fairly quick.
Okay, so they can go on the Republic City website and enroll through there.
Correct.
And then also they can call you at the toll-free number or email the Alhambra Republic Services box to make sure that their auto payment will be enrolled after July 1, 2020.
Right. And my recommendation is you do this after July 1st, because that's when we will transfer all of your account information into our new system.
Great, thank you, Francella. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's an app, correct?
Right. There is a Republic Services app as well. You can create your login, your profile, and you can also make payments, set up for auto pay, and request services as well.
That sounds great. No, apps are the way of the future, so everyone's using apps nowadays.
Yes.
Okay, so another question here is, to be clear, the extra total fee is monthly or one time? And this is for residential service.
That would be a monthly fee for the extra toters.
Which would be on the quarterly bill, correct?
That is correct.
So they wouldn't be getting a separate bill every month.
No, it will be on the same invoice, and it will show on there that you have an extra toter and what type of toter and the price.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcel. Okay, Well, at this time, we've gone through all of our questions here. And I think before we end, let's see here. Let's see, another question here is, how do you invoice for that month that I don't use the extra versus the times that I do?
Unfortunately, you are going to be paying whether you take the card out or not. So the service and the fee is for a month, and whether you take it out or not, you still pay for it.
And that's basically how it is right now. If someone's
Correct.
got their carts and they don't use the recycle cart every week, or they don't use the yard waste cart every week, they still pay for those particular carts.
That is correct.
Okay, so before we wrap up here, I think I would want to ask Marcella if she wouldn't mind putting up the screen for the Alhambra Republic Services website. And if she can just kind of real quick sort of go over that. Do you have that
Absolutely.
available, or I can pull it up if you want, Marcella?
I can pull it up quickly. You just give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let me know when you can see it.
Try it one more time here.
Okay, let's see.
I think when you got disconnected, it disabled your capability there.
You know what? Yes, I don't, because I can't see the question. I couldn't see the question and answer. So maybe you want to share your screen, Matt?
Sure, I can share the screen.
Okay.
Absolutely. There you go.
So if you scroll down a little bit, Matt, you can see we have the July 1st. We also have here under car announcements, we will be posting all the flyers that are being mailed out. So if you're not receiving them, or for some reason you missed it, or your significant other threw it away before you got to read it, you can go into, if you click on the blue new card details, it will actually pop up the flyer. And on the left, on the white box where you see residential card FAQs, it will give you answers to some of the questions that have been coming in from residents into the inbox. You still scroll down, you'll see our customer service information, holiday schedule. We will be updating the container size. Right now it's just going into the colors, but once July 1st arrive or the new cars start arriving, we will put more information as to what goes into each one. If you keep scrolling down, those are copies of the newsletters that go out for every season. And if you continue to go down, you can see that blue pay my bill. You can also do a one-time payment on there. If you don't want to sign up for auto pay, you almost missed it and you couldn't make your payment, you can do it online. And you keep scrolling down, you will find all sorts of information as far as AB 341, AB 1826. The Clean LA is for hazardous items that you do not know where to dispose of. Here's the battery recycling program with the locations. Also for, as I mentioned in the presentation, automobile batteries that are not accepted. And if you have some that you would like to know where to dispose of, you can just click on that link for Earth 911 and it will give you a list. If you keep scrolling down, that's some information about our Committed to Serve, but then you have additional resources. And my favorite part, if you keep scrolling down, you have a kids corner where you have puzzles and games and anything to keep your kids entertained. I know we have some residents that really enjoy that. So as we continue, we will be updating events and any other information that's going on to all the residents. We also have some videos on our recycling center tour. You can take one in our landfill. And as you can see at the bottom, you will see also some activities for 6th through 12th grade. Frequently asked questions, and you can even fill out a form with your questions, or again, you can use our Alhambra website. I'm sorry, our email address.
Okay, great. There it is. All right, before we wrap up here, Francella, we do have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we address those before we end the presentation tonight. So the next question is, I have 3 green waste totes and I don't pay extra each month for that. I only use them when I trim large bushes or in the fall cleaning up city tree leaves. So I think what I would say to that is, unfortunately, like I mentioned before, the rates are going up per container because the disposal costs are going up significantly. But I would suggest, and maybe you can speak to this, Francella, in that instance, instead of having an extra cart, for those few instances that you have that extra yard waste, you can call those in as a bulk item and that's free. Is that correct, Marcella?
That is correct. So that I was going to make the same suggestion, especially for large bushes. You can just call those as bulky item pickups,
So
especially
those,
if you're only doing it so often.
okay, and those need to be bundled, I believe, and can't be longer than, is it 4 feet or 5 feet?
It's 5 feet and they cannot be heavier than 50 pounds per bundle.
So that would definitely be a way for someone to try to save some on some of the costs. Is instead of getting
Absolutely.
additional containers, only calling in for those bulk pickups when you really need it.
Correct.
Okay, and then another question is, there's been talks with different neighbors that you only pick up if the containers are filled to a minimum amount. We've had small trash at times and not picked up.
No, that's actually incorrect. Whether you have 1 bag or 10 bags, it should be picked up. So if that's not being picked up, please email us or call us and we will make sure that your cart is being serviced every week.
Yes, absolutely. If they are not being serviced, regardless of the amount that's in there, please let them know so that way they can return and make sure that those are getting disposed of properly. All right, well, we're coming up at the end of our presentation here. Really want to thank everyone for attending and for all the questions. These were some really great questions. We really hope everyone found this informative. And at the same time, again, if you have any other questions, concerns, comments, or requests, you can always email the Alhambra Republic Services inbox, or you can also give them a call, the toll-free number. And that information is available on the city website and also on the Alhambra Republic Services website. So again, thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate your time this evening for joining us. And have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
And this will be posted on the website also as well. So in case you or any of your neighbors want to go back and watch it, it will be up there next week on the city website.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.